Hello, this is Ron from NewGenGamers.com and DS-licious.tv taking a look at a fine piece of DS candy. This is Harvest Moon DS Cute, and this is from Natsume and Marvelous Entertainment. Now, Harvest Moon is unlike pretty much any other traditional video game. The goal of the game is to simulate the life of a young farmer trying to make it on their ranch. So you start off with very little. Your land is covered with a lot of stumps and trees and junk, and you've got to clean it all up. And once you clean it up, then you can begin planting crops, you can begin raising livestock, and harvesting the items that you receive. Your character has strength and energy bars, which affect their hunger. You can feed your character and gain more strength, but if you get too tired, you will collapse. Your inventory is run through the touch screen, so you click on the little rucksack, and let's see, we want to water our crops, so we're going to pick the watering can here. Now I've powered up my tools so I can water this whole area at once. These are crops I've planted, and as time goes on, they grow. The crops are seasonal, so after a season is over, you can no longer grow crops from that season. So you've got to do a lot of managing with how you're planting your crops, the growing seasons. You've got to deal with your finances. It's just a lot of managing and a lot of tedium, and it's really addictively fun. So it's really tough to describe, and one of those gem type games that you kind of have to find and try to really appreciate, because looking at it, it might seem kind of lame. It's a little different. It's something completely different. So I'm going to go ahead and load up a previous game I had that's a little bit earlier in the season. It is the 15th of spring. Now again, as you see, with the dual screen, a lot of stuff's happening down on this bottom screen. Most of the main gameplay takes place on the top screen. We also have a map of the whole area. This is the entire area you can traverse in the game. And with the map, you can zoom in on any area and look at it in real time to see what's happening, which is a really nice feature. Now, we also have the tab that shows us all of our assets on the farm. How much money we have, which you can click on that and see how much money you've gained and lost by month, by season. Here's the levels of friendship you have with your animals. Now my dog I didn't really pay much attention to because you really don't gain anything from him in this one. Same with the horse. But the animals you do want to build a relationship with. Now you see here I only have 2 hearts with all of these, so our relationship isn't very good. The better your relationship is, the better harvests you get. Which, with ducks and chickens, your harvest would be eggs. With your sheep and cows, your harvest would, of course, be milk for the cows. And for the sheep, you shear them to get wool. You can then take these items and do additional things with them, like cook and create new items. You can make some different things with the milk that can then be used in some of your recipes. The recipes will gain friendship with those in the community and allow you to gain strength. And another aspect of the game is the community. You will build up a relationship with the different characters that live in the town, and one of the ultimate goals of the game is to find love. Now, this game has you play as a female character, and the game design is almost exactly the same as Harvest Moon DS, which featured a male character. The main difference here is you're a girl. So overall, aesthetically, the games are generally the same, but you'll get some different NPCs, you'll get some different reactions, and a few different things go on. You have an accessory kit over here to change outfits, and the storyline of the actual game's altered a little bit. But other than that, it's essentially the same deal. So if you've played Harvest Moon DS, there might not be a whole lot for you in Harvest Moon DS Cute. You'll see that it's raining today. When it's raining, your energy is a lot lower. You can't do as much work that day, and your animals have to be inside, or else they could potentially get sick or upset with you, which will lower their relationship with you, lower the amount of harvest you get from them, etc., etc. Now let's look at the touch screen real quick. If you attach the touchscreen glove within the game, you'll get little mini games for petting and shearing and milking and befriending your animals that will give you little bonuses. And a lot of it essentially comes down to just rubbing the screen really fast. But it does add a little extra advantage of the touch sensitivity with. You've got to successfully run your farm, you've got to make friends, you've got to find love, and there's a lot of depth. As I said, you follow through the seasons, and so you go from spring to summer to fall to winter, and each season has different events that go on specifically for the season. As I said, different crops grow, and there's added things with this. There's trees you can grow that you couldn't in previous games. There's definitely some interesting aesthetics in the DS versions that previous versions didn't have. But essentially the same game. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up. Overall, graphics and user interface, I'd give this game an 8. Good use of the touchscreen, good use of the hardware to a degree. It's not a huge difference over the Game Boy Color versions, but it really doesn't need to be. These games are never that graphically impressive, and the use of the touchscreen and the dual screens is good enough. Now for sound isn't so great. As you can hear, we have the rain pattering here, some general sounds. The music's upbeat and catchy, but nothing that you're really going to take with you later. The animal sounds are accurate for the animals that they portray, but again, nothing revolutionary. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 in sound. Now as far as gameplay goes, this game has a ton of depth. As I said, you can literally pour hundreds of hours into it without even really realizing it. And so I'm going to give it a 9 in gameplay because there's so much to do. It's just literally ridiculous. Now next we come to replayability. The game has a ton of replayability. You can play as many seasons as you want. Specific goals happen throughout the years, and you're expected to get married and build your farm up, and will be judged based upon how quickly you do that. But you can just keep playing the game, and it really never has to end. So as far as replayability goes, I'm going to give that a 9 as well. Story and immersion, as I said, the immersion factor is very deep. You can get lost in this game and put a lot of time into it without realizing. But as far as the actual story goes, not a whole lot of depth to it. You get some blanket responses from the NPCs. There are a lot of characters in the world, but they're not very exciting. You don't really get an attachment to the NPCs. They all have different characteristics, but they're just not that memorable, even though that a lot of them have been reused in several of the Harvest Moon games. So I'm going to give that an 8.5 because there's a lot of depth there, but in the end, there's some things that you really don't take home with you as far as the story goes. So that's the base score, and that comes to 42. Now, I'm going to give this some bonus points in fun factor, in gameplay, and in story immersion, because, as I said, you can pour a ton of time in this. This gameplay design has worked time and time again across consoles for over 10 years now, and they're always fun. I would like to give a bonus point to replayability, but considering this is essentially the same game as Harvest Moon DS with a slight change in the aesthetics, I can't give it the bonus point there. So that gives us a total score of 86 according to the NewGenGamers scoring system, and I think anyone that plays this would have a good time. If you liked one, you're going to like them all pretty much. If you're looking for something a little bit different and something that plays well on the DS, definitely give this a shot. It's an underrated series and very, very obscure, and Those who know about it, though, know how damn good it is, so check it out.
NewGenGamers.